And I'm Hemkor Surayan on the show today. Donald Trump's crackdown on immigration saw the first batch of immigrants to be transported to the Guantanamo Bay. It was carrying around 10 migrants with criminal records, according to the Homeland Security officials. We'll get you the latest on this on the show today.
Trump's also made some big statements on the future of Gaza. We'll bring you all the latest on that front as well. Also on World DNA, of course, this is New Delhi, Indian capital, and all 70 constituencies in the Indian national capital are going to polls today. Over 1.55 crore registered voters are set to decide the political future of Delhi. We'll bring you the latest on that front as well. Let's start with the headlines.
Voting underway in Delhi Assembly elections as all 70 constituencies go to polls. Over 1.55 crore registered voters set to decide the political future of the Indian capital.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it.
Donald Trump says United States will take control of war-torn Gaza after meeting Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu at the White House. Trump says he envisions long-term U.S. ownership of the territory after Palestinians are moved elsewhere.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says President Trump's plan to take control over the Gaza Strip could change history. Says he's committed to securing a peace deal with regional rival Saudi Arabia.
Senate panels advanced the nominations of President Donald Trump's picks for Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard.
Several people killed in a shooting incident at an education center in Sweden, including the suspected gunman. Swedish Prime Minister calls it the worst mass shooting in the country's history.
Aga Khan, the Imam of Ismaili Muslims and head of a major development aid foundation, has died at the age of 88 in Lisbon.
Estee Lauder plans to cut up to 7,000 jobs globally as part of a cost-saving overhaul. The company aims to boost sales growth and maintain strong profit margins amid global economic volatility and economic slump in China.
Two-time Grand Slam champion Simona Halep calls time on her career. The former world number one made the announcement after losing the first round of a tournament in her home country of Romania.
All right. U.S. President Donald Trump has said that the United States will take control of war-torn Gaza.
And this comes as he addressed reporters after a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, who is in the White House as of now for the meetings. And this was over the country's conflict with Palestinian group Hamas. Trump said he is looking at long-term U.S. ownership of Gaza, predicting that the Strip could become the Riviera of West Asia.
Something that was really an achievement. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
Trump also called for the permanent resettlement of Palestinians from Gaza to neighboring West Asian countries such as Egypt and Jordan, despite flat rejections from both those nations and the Palestinians themselves.
Trump remarked that Gaza's 2 million inhabitants should not return to the territory, which he referred to as a demolition site.
Netanyahu said that the US president's Gaza plan was different and worth paying attention to.
He has a different idea, and I think it's worth paying attention to this. We're talking about it. He's exploring it with his people, with his staff. I think it's something that could change history, and it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue.
Netanyahu also voiced confidence that he could strike peace between Israel and its regional rival Saudi Arabia, telling reporters that he, as well as Trump, were committed to making it a reality. He went on to hail Trump as the greatest friend Israel has ever had, and Trump said he loved Israel and promised to plan a visit to the country soon. Also to Gaza, Saudi Arabia and other West Asian countries.
During the meeting, Trump urged Netanyahu to move to the next phase of ceasefire aimed at a more lasting peace, while claiming credit for securing the first phase, which allowed for the exchange of hostages and prisoners between Israel and Hamas after more than 15 months of fighting. Hours before meeting the US president, the Israeli Prime Minister's office said Israel would send a delegation to Qatar for further negotiations. Hamas said negotiations over the second phase of ceasefire deal have already begun. And for more on this, our New York correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Listen to this.
President Trump met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. They discussed Gaza, Iran, and the broader Middle East strategy. Donald Trump suggested that Palestinians should permanently leave Gaza and floated the idea that the U.S. may control the Gaza region, drawing sharp reactions. He did not rule out deploying American troops to Gaza's reconstruction and hinted at a long-term U.S. involvement in Gaza. On Iran, Donald Trump reaffirmed his hardline stance, emphasizing the need for stronger deterrence against Tehran's influence in the Middle East region. Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump both agreed that pushing for a prolonged ceasefire in Gaza is important, ensuring Israeli security interests. Of course, the next step is further negotiations on some kind of ceasefire deal and a potential U.S. role in post-war Gaza management. Donald Trump also signed a memo regarding Iran to impose his quote-unquote maximum pressure policy right before meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION The World.
As Ukraine continues to face mounting losses on the battlefield, President Trump has hinted that U.S. military aid comes at a cost, and that is access to Ukraine's vast deposits of rare earth elements.
This next story explains how, with an estimated value of exceeding $26 trillion, minerals from Ukraine are crucial for the global supply chain. Take a look.
Ukrainian forces are falling back. Outgunned and outnumbered, they are losing ground in the east as Russian troops push forward. The battle for Pokrovsk is turning against them. Supply lines are under fire, fresh reinforcements are scarce, and Moscow is seizing the advantage. The war nears a breaking point, but now a new demand emerges from Kyiv's biggest backer, Washington. US President Donald Trump proposes a bargain: American military support in exchange for access to Ukraine's vast mineral wealth.
We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earth. We want what we put up to go in terms of a guarantee. We want a guarantee. We want We're handing them money hand over fist. We're giving them equipment. European is not keeping up with us. They should equalize. And look, we have an ocean in between. They don't. It's more important for them than it is for us. But they're way below us in terms of money. And they should be paying at least equal.
With a treasure trove of critical raw material worth over $26 trillion, Ukraine is one of the world's most valuable suppliers of metals essential for defense, technology and green energy. To put that in perspective, the US economy is worth $30 trillion. Ukraine has rich reserves of lithium, titanium, beryllium, gallium and uranium deposits. The global market for these minerals has doubled in 5 years, surpassing $320 billion and is expected to double again soon. If the US secures control over Ukraine's resources, it could reduce its reliance on China, a dominant force in rare earth supplies. But at what cost to Ukraine? President Volodymyr Zelensky is seeking clarity on US aid and making a shocking claim that Ukraine received only $75 billion of the $177 billion US-approved aid.
Look, I as a president of a warring country tell you, we received more than $75 billion. That is, $100 billion out of these $177 billion, or even $200 billion as some people estimate, we never received. And this is important because we talk about specific things, because we did not get it with money. We got it in weapons.
As the front line crumbles, Kyiv faces a harsh reality. Will it agree to Trump's terms, risking economic sovereignty, or refuse and see military aid diminish? With Russian forces advancing and time running out, Ukraine is being pushed into a dangerous corner. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Now, Trump's FBI nominee Kash Patel remains in news regarding his ideas of dramatically limiting the authority of the institution that he himself intends to head.
But internet is more interested in who has the authority over Patel's heart. Now, Google searches regarding if Patel was singly soared through his confirmation hearing last week. Although Patel likes to maintain a highly private personal life, internet has unearthed some details about his rumored girlfriend.
Kash Patel had a flurry of close friends and family members gathered at his Senate confirmation hearing. Among those guests included one mystery woman seated behind Patel in a show of support. That's now revealed to be his girlfriend, country music artist Alexis Wilkins.
Patel and Wilkins reportedly met at a conservative Republican American event in October 2022 and have been dating since last 2 years. Now, Alexis Wilkins was raised in Arkansas and spent her early years in England and Switzerland. She is a singer, songwriter and commanding artist based in Nashville. But reports suggest that the pair is making the move to Washington, D.C. together.
Now, Wilkins has taken a job in Capitol Hill, working as press secretary for Congressman Abe Hamadeh. According to reports, despite her new role in Washington, Wilkins plans to juggle between D.C. life and Nashville.
The US President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration is in full swing.
Right, the White House has said that the first set of flights carrying migrants has left for Guantanamo military base.
Now, ahead of the migrants' arrival, US Marine forces have been deployed to the base in Cuba. Several troops could be seen boarding a military aircraft from an undisclosed location in the United States. Amidst this, US President Trump said that he is still studying the legality of sending dangerous American criminals to prisons in other countries. The president's remarks come after El Salvador offered to jail violent American criminals.
If we could get them out of our country, we have other countries that would take them. It's no different than a prison system, except it would be a lot less expensive. I'll have to find that out legally. I'm just saying, if we had the legal right to do it, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Meanwhile, U.S. State Secretary Marco Rubio landed in Costa Rica as part of his diplomatic visit to Central America, and upon his arrival at the capital San Jose, Rubio said that the U.S. will provide waivers and additional biometric technology to the Central American nation. This, he said, would deter migrants from coming from other continents to use Costa Rica as a transit country to enter the United States.
Furthermore, Rubio lashed out at Venezuela, Cuba and Nicaragua for causing a regional migrant crisis. He also accused them of being enemies of humanity. In the midst of these immigration crackdowns, several migrant families in California have raised concerns as to whether it's safe to send their children to schools. Academicians have reassured immigrant parents of their children's safety, while the California Attorney General said that all students have the right to education regardless of their immigration status.
In California, all students have the right to an education, regardless of their immigration status or the immigration status of anyone in their family. Every child and family also has the right to keep their education records and personal information confidential.
Now in Sweden, about 10 people have been killed in a shooting at an education center, including the suspected gunman.
Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson says that this is the worst mass shooting in the country's history, but a lot of questions are still unanswered. The violence occurred on a campus in the town of Örebro. The Örebro police chief has said that they cannot be more specific about the death toll due to the large number of those wounded.
This situation update is related to today's tragic event at the Ryzbergska Adult Education Campus. We now know that around 10 people have died there today, which is why we cannot provide more specific details at this time. This is due to the extent of the damage. Our current efforts involve several parts: identifying the deceased, following up on the condition of the injured, and conducting an extensive investigation.
Now, police are not aware of a motive yet, but they do not currently suspect terrorism as a motive. The police chief also said that they believe the gunman acted alone, and he has not previously been known to the police. He is believed to be among those killed, and search is ongoing at the school for other possible victims. An eyewitness who was at the school when the shooting took place has recounted the event. Listen to this.
A guy next to me was shot in the shoulder. He was bleeding a lot. When I looked behind me, I saw 3 people on the floor bleeding. Everyone was shocked. They said, "Go out! Get out!" I and my friend tried to save the life of this person. People were very shocked.
Candlelight vigil was held near the site of the mass shooting. Several people lit candles, recounting how amid the chaos they saw people panicking, trying to get hold of their loved ones that were inside the school.
And in an alleged racism incident, 3 Indian students studying at South Africa's Durban Centenary Secondary School were attacked by a mob of students.
WION spoke with South African police from the province, who said that the alleged fight broke out between a teacher and student inside the school premises. Colonel Nechunda added that an additional fight between a few students took place. He said the incident injured several students, but no family has filed a case yet. WION also spoke to the security company that attended to the chaos outside the Centenary Secondary School, who claims that the fight broke purely due to racial tension. A security personnel who witnessed the incident said that the fight broke out due to racism. He echoed the same sentiment. He also called on the school to take action.
Look at him, man.
I was in the school when the problem started. And the thing is, you need to understand the reason why the kids were left out is because there were problems all over the school. And for securities to be all over, it was difficult. We had the police there who was just standing in the bottom of the parking. They wasn't assisting in any way because it's kids. So when it comes to kids, these guys, they just like try to keep their hands far away. So they were trying to talk to one, two of them, but it didn't work. So the only solution was to let these kids out because children were catching hiding in the school. So when we let the children out, all the children came out, there was a problem outside the gate, where now parents as well got involved.
Mother of an injured teenager from the 11th grade said her son had suffered multiple fractures on his head and his eyes were severely impacted. She informed that a group of at least 20 students were continuously hitting his son. Her son is currently admitted in the ICU.
Cannot control. Where is the security? Where is SEPS? Huh? Huh? Look at you. Look at them. Animals, man. Animals.
And for more on this, a correspondent, Kalden Ongmo, has sent us this report from Johannesburg. Listen to this.
Over the last few years, racism and unfair discrimination in schools has reared its ugly head once again, and South Africans are calling for urgent steps to curb this scourge. South African Human Rights Commission says after reaching the milestone of 30 years of democracy, many are astounded that racism and other forms of discrimination still persist to this extent in South African schools. Tuesday's incident has left many scarred, especially the students who were injured critically. Institute of Justice and Reconciliation once said that it is critical for all schools in South Africa to be more proactive and to practice anti-racism in all they do. Schools need to undergo anti-racism education and learn how to be anti-racist in its culture, curriculum, policies and governance. This is Kalden Ongmo from Johannesburg, South Africa for WION World is One.
All right, with that, it's time now for a short break.
Don't go anywhere. This is World DNA. There will be more on the other side when we come back. Voting is underway in the Delhi Assembly elections. All 70 constituencies in the Indian national capital are going to polls today. We'll bring you an update from the ground as well from one of the major polling stations and bring you an update on what to expect in these.
The biggest game in the American sporting calendar just 5 days away. The 59th Super Bowl will take place on Sunday between Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing. Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the US.
And I will be here at the WION headquarters, getting you all the action from the universe of sport. All that you need to know about your favorite teams and players, right here.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the US.
And I will be here at the WION headquarters, getting you all the action from the universe of sport. All that you need to know about your favorite teams and players, right here.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
Vielleicht nur als 5%.
Welcome back to World DNA. Thank you so much for staying with us. Lots lined up for you on this side of the show as well. Let's get started with the headlines first.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it.
Trump says the U.S. will take control of war-torn Gaza. Hamas rejects Trump's statement, says the remarks reflect absence of moral and humanitarian standards.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says President Trump plans to take control over the Gaza Strip could change history. Says he's committed to securing a peace deal with regional rival Saudi Arabia.
Senate panels advance the nominations of President Donald Trump's picks for Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard.
Several people killed in a shooting at an education center in Sweden, including the suspected gunman. Swedish Prime Minister calls it the worst mass shooting in the country's history.
Voting underway in Delhi Assembly elections as all 70 constituencies go to polls. Over 1.55 crore registered voters set to decide the political future of the Indian capital.
Two-time Grand Slam champion Simona Halep calls time in her career. The former world number one made the announcement after losing the first round of a tournament in her home country of Romania. And voting is underway in the Delhi Assembly elections. All 70 constituencies in the Indian national capital are going to polls today.
There are over 1.55 crore registered voters in Delhi, and they are set to decide the political future of the Indian national capital. The Election Commission has set up 13,766 polling stations at nearly 2,700 polling locations. There are some 700, that's precisely 699 candidates in the fray, with the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress fielding 70 candidates each. The Bharatiya Janata Party has fielded 68 candidates, giving 2 seats to its allies JDU and LJP.
The Aam Aadmi Party is eyeing a third term, while the BJP is hoping to form a government in Delhi after 28 years. During the Delhi Assembly polls in 2020, Aam Aadmi Party has won comfortable majorities, winning 62 and 67 seats respectively. BJP had finished a distant second in both these polls, while the Congress, which ruled Delhi for 15 years, had registered 0 seats in both elections. In 2013, BJP had emerged as the biggest party with 31 seats, but it couldn't form the government. Aam Aadmi Party leader Arvind Kejriwal had formed a short-lived government before president's rule was imposed for almost a year.
In the parliamentary elections held last year, over 58% voters had turned up to vote. The voter turnout in the 2020 Assembly polls in Delhi was 62.59%, while in 2015, the voter turnout was 67.47% approximately. That's now 97,955 personnel, little over 8,700 volunteers. They have been deployed on the ground along with Central Police, Home Guards and Delhi Police personnel.
Former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia is contesting from Jangpura after vacating his seat in Patparganj. We'll also see a close contest against BJP's Tarvinder Singh Marwa and Congress's Farhad Suri. Incumbent Chief Minister Atishi will be contesting against former MP Ramesh Phiduri and Congress's Alka Lamba in Kalkaji. In the New Delhi constituency, where AAP Chief Arvind Kejriwal is fighting to retain his seat, the BJP and Congress have fielded sons of former Chief Ministers Parvesh Sahib Singh and Sandeep Dikshit, respectively. Voters will also decide the fate of other high-profile candidates like Ministers Gopal Rai, Saurabh Bhardwaj and BJP leaders Kailash Gehlot and Kapil Mishra. The results will be announced on the 8th of February.
साथ में आ जाए तो अच्छा रहेगा साथ में
All right. For more on this, we're now being joined by our correspondent Dharamjot Kaur, who's getting us all the updates from the ground. Dharamjot, thank you so much for joining us. What is the turnout looking like at the moment? What's the mood on ground?
Well, it's still very early. Voting just began as of an hour ago at 7 a.m. local time. I'm here at the heart of Old Delhi, where it still looks like business as usual. People are up and about. But again, very early hours, only 1 hour has passed. We have voting open till 6 p.m. in the evening. So we will see people trickling in on and off throughout the course of the day. Now, as per early trends, the set pattern that we've seen across all elections in India is that the first couple of hours usually see the older demography turning out to vote, usually the senior citizens or people who have to head out to work after casting their ballot. So that is where the things stand right now. Very, very early. The city is still relatively quiet, but we're definitely going to see more hustle and more activity as people line up to vote and choose who will form the next government in Delhi.
Dharam, as far as the critical constituencies within Delhi, out of these 70, if you can give us a gist of the ones to look out for.
Well, as you rightly mentioned, Shivan and him, there's two that are very, very intense, battlefield constituencies. One, as we know, where Arvind Kejriwal is contesting from the seat of New Delhi, where two sons of former chief ministers from BJP and Congress, respectively, are contesting against him. So that's a very intense battle to look out for. On the other hand, the Kalkaji constituency, where the current interim chief minister Atishi is contesting against BJP candidate Ramesh Phiduri and Alka Lamba, who briefly was with the Aam Aadmi Party before joining the Congress again. So again, both these seats is going to see a lot of action. It's going to be a very tough fight. There are other constituencies as well, where we see big names. Kailash Gehlot, for one, who was with the Aam Aadmi Party for a very long time before switching party alliances just a couple of months before elections. So the contest is on, Shivan, and it's going to be a tough battle for the Aam Aadmi Party, for the BJP and for the Congress. All three have, they have their goals set out. We've seen AAP, reign in the national capital ever since it formed the party back in 2012. We've seen it at the helm of power ever since. Then when it comes to BJP, they haven't been in power in Delhi for over 27 years, almost close to 28 years now, despite being in power at the centre for more than 10 years. The Congress had a good run for 15 years when Sheila Dikshit was chief minister, but after the Aam Aadmi Party came to the picture, they have failed to make a comeback, and not just that, they don't even have a single seat as far as representation in the assembly is concerned in the past two elections. So a lot is at stake for all three parties with respect to what they're trying to achieve and have a certain sort of, stronghold in the national capital, because it's a very interesting, it's the capital of India at the end of the day. So it's a very interesting power structure and a power hold with respect to, how the entire political structures of India is concerned. So very intense battle. Yes. I think we'll find out in the next 2 days when the elections are out with respect to which party claws its way back to power.
Yeah, Delhi is still waking up, it seems, but you're there in the heart of Purani Delhi, as they call it, in Chandni Chowk. And of course, we'll get to know slowly what the turnout is looking like. Thanks, Dharam, for getting us the latest. We'll be keeping in touch with you through the course of the day.
All right, and the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivered a fiery speech in the Lok Sabha.
Well, he replied to the discussion on the motion of thanks on the president's address in the parliament. Prime Minister has launched a scathing attack on the opposition. Without naming leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi, he accused him of speaking the language of urban Naxals. And Prime Minister also took shots at Gandhi over his allegations of EAM lobbying for Trump inauguration invite and his remark for President Draupadi Murmu's budget speech.
ये देश का दुर्भाग्य है कि आजकल कुछ लोग अर्बन नक्सल की भाषा खुलेआम बोल रहे हैं। और अर्बन नक्सल जिन बातों को बोलते हैं, इंडियन स्टेट के सामने मोर्चा लेना, ये अर्बन नक्सल की भाषा बोलने वाले इंडियन स्टेट के खिलाफ लड़ाई की घोषणा करने वाले न संविधान को समझ सकते हैं, न देश की एकता को समझ सकते हैं। राष्ट्रपति जी के अभिभाषण के बाद एक महिला राष्ट्रपति जी एक गरीब परिवार की बेटी, उनका सम्मान न कर सके, आपकी मर्जी, लेकिन क्या क्या कहकर उनको अपमानित किया जा रहा है। मैं राजनीति हताशा निराशा समझ सकता हूं, लेकिन एक राष्ट्रपति के खिलाफ क्या कारण है, क्या कारण है?
Let's get you some business updates next. Saudi Arabia's non-oil business sector expanded at its fastest pace in over a decade in January.
Now, the Riyadh Bank Saudi Arabia Purchasing Managers Index rose to 60.5 from 58.4 in December, marking the highest level since September 2014, and a reading above 50 signals growth. This surge was driven by a sharp rise in new orders, with the new orders index jumping to 71.1, the strongest increase since June 2011. Favorable economic conditions and the new infrastructure projects played a key role in boosting both domestic demand and export sales.
Government estimates show that non-oil growth surged to 4.6% in the fourth quarter of 2024, outperforming overall GDP growth. And this comes amid Saudi Arabia's continued push for economic diversification under Vision 2030. Strong export demand from Gulf Cooperation Council countries further supported growth, aided by competitive pricing strategies. Employment levels continue to rise, signaling robust business activity. However, firms faced rising input cost pressures, leading to the fastest increase in output prices in about a year. Despite concerns over cost inflation, business sentiment remained strong.
Expectations for future output improved to the highest level since March 2024, driven by confidence in sustained demand and ongoing government initiatives. Companies remain optimistic about growth prospects, with expansion strategies focused on tapping into domestic opportunities and strengthening regional trade ties. And China's start to the Lunar New Year is marked by a tourism boom, defying the country's broader economic slowdown.
China has recorded a 203% surge in inbound travel bookings for the 2025 Lunar New Year compared to 2024, and this spike is largely attributed to China's expanded visa waiver scheme, offering 30-day visa-free entry to citizens of 38 countries. South Korea, the United States, Australia, Malaysia and Canada emerged as the top sources of foreign tourists. Shanghai, China's busiest international gateway, saw overwhelming crowds, with popular eateries forced to turn away customers due to high demand.
Outbound travel from China also saw strong growth during the Lunar New Year period. Chinese tourists visited over 2,100 cities worldwide, marking a 50% increase from 2024. According to data from kunatrip.com, reported a 70% rise in overseas bookings for car rentals and tourist attractions. Family trips dominated, accounting for 80% of the bookings, with Singapore, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand and South Korea being the top destinations despite safety concerns in some regions.
China's visa-free travel policies have played a crucial role in stimulating tourism and economic challenges like sluggish consumption and a property crisis. Analysts highlight that easier visa access, affordable flights and flexible travel plans have boosted both inbound and outbound travel. For instance, travelers chose Vietnam over Bali due to better weather and a simple visa on arrival options. And this shift reflects a broader trend of Chinese tourists seeking cost-effective, hassle-free international experiences. Alright, so over to technology next. Elon Musk's influence on the federal government is expanding, and with it, the use of artificial intelligence.
And as per reports, his Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is reportedly using AI to identify budget cuts, raising concerns about the potential impact on government services and the increasing reliance on AI in making decisions. Reports suggest DOGE is focusing on AI-first strategy tasked by the Trump administration to drastically reduce federal spending. Musk believes AI can be a key tool in this effort.
Musk recently claimed that around $100 billion to $200 billion of US taxpayer money is lost annually due to government fraud, including fake people collecting benefits and foreign fraud rings. Although Musk failed to provide any further evidence or any kind of evidence supporting his claims, President Trump defended Musk's approach.
But he does have a good natural instinct. He's got a team of very talented people. We're trying to shrink government, and he can probably shrink it as well as anybody else, if not better.
Now, the use of AI by DOGE comes as a shock, since it was Musk who had previously warned that AI could lead to civilization destruction. For some, Musk's position can even come across as hypocritical given his own extensive involvement in AI development through companies like XAI, which provides AI services to a social media platform X, and Tesla, where AI is used to power the car's autonomous system.
The use of AI in the federal government could be seen as a double-edged sword. While it could lead to significant changes in how government agencies operate, with increased reliance on AI for decision-making and oversight, it also raises questions about the accuracy and potential biases of AI systems when applied to complex issues like fraud detection and budget allocation. There's also the broader issue of Musk's expanding influence within the government, particularly regarding AI policy, especially given his leadership of multiple tech companies, including XAI, Tesla, and X.
Leaving many to wonder whether this AI-driven approach will truly streamline the US government or simply create new unforeseen challenges for the Trump administration. And the biggest game in the American sporting calendar is just 4 days away.
The 59th Super Bowl will take place on Sunday between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans. US President Trump will also attend the game along with several high-profile celebrities. Now, the opening night of the Super Bowl took place. It is seen as the official start of Super Bowl week. It takes place on the Monday before the NFL's championship game and kicks off a week of events building up to Super Bowl Sunday. It is the first time that fans and media hear from the two teams that will contest the Super Bowl after they have arrived in the host city. The star players mingled with media and signed pictures for fans at the Superdome.
This year's championship game sees Kansas City Chiefs going to an unprecedented three-peat of Super Bowl titles. The face of the Chiefs dynasty has been quarterback Patrick Mahomes, who has invited comparisons with Tom Brady. Brady is recognized as the greatest NFL player of all time, but it seems 29-year-old Mahomes is hot on his heels.
You know, as I've watched the greats, I think more than anything it's just to be able to win. I know that sounds easy, but to be able to win with the team that's around you is something that's special and that the greatest do. And I think I learned that the most from Tom Brady, man. He would be whatever it took to win the football game. And as a quarterback, that's what you have to be, and that's what I've learned over my career.
The Chiefs are up against a team they beat 2 years ago to win the crown. The Eagles last won the title back in 2018 and will be desperate to get their hands on the championship after years of near misses.
One of my favorite quotes that Nick said all the time, you can't be great without the greatest of others. And that's how it works. We have a great team, but we all want to do it together. And that's the reason why we've been successful, and it's going to take everyone again this Sunday.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell also spoke to the media in New Orleans. One of the hot topics in the U.S. right now is President Donald Trump's directive to scrap diversity programs. But Goodell believes that the people of different backgrounds make the league stronger.
I believe that our diversity efforts have led to making the NFL better. It's attracted better talent. We think we're better when we get different perspectives, people with different backgrounds, whether they're women or men or people of color. We make ourselves stronger and we make ourselves better when we have that. And it's something that I think will have a tremendous impact on this league for many, many years. We win on the field with the best talent and the best coaching, and I think the same is true off the field.
All right, next up, let's bring you the latest from entertainment. Juliette Binoche will be the jury president at the Cannes Film Festival in May 2025. The news was announced by the organizers of the festival. The French actor will succeed American director Greta Gerwig. The 60-year-old star has featured in films such as The English Patient, Wuthering Heights, Certified Copy, to name a famous few. He will succeed Barbie director Greta Gerwig, who served as jury president last year.
The Met Museum of Art revealed the dress code for its annual lavish celebration of fashion in May. This year's theme will be Tailored for You. It's a nod to the accompanying exhibit's focus on suiting and menswear. For the first in more than 20 years, the Met Gala will be focused more on menswear, specifically black tie style. The Met's Costume Institute also announced that it will be reviving what it called a long-standing Met Gala. Long-standing tradition that the Met Gala will take place on the 5th of May. The exhibit Superfine Tailoring Black Style will be open to the public from the 10th of May to the 26th of October.
Three movie hub cities in India, Mumbai, Delhi and Hyderabad, are celebrating Saudi Film Nights. It is an initiative by the National Film Development Corporation and Saudi Film Commission to screen Saudi-based movies in selected theatres in the country. The curated films serve as a gateway to the cultural and diverse film industry of the Kingdom of Arabia. Indian film director Madhur Bhandarkar and Saudi-based actor Sohaib Godus were some of the stalwarts who attended the Delhi edition of the event.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of World DNA.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Slipping into a short break now. Come right back. This is WION.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more